So what is going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video on the channel where today we are going to be talking about what I want to see in the next iteration of zombies in this year's Call of Duty, which we believe is going to be called Black Ops Gulf War. The name hasn't been confirmed, but we've heard a few rumours and we have had some leaks on zombies already. We've heard that we're going to be getting 2 maps on day 1. Of course, you take everything with a grain of salt, especially being this early on, but with the way that I think COD Zombies has gone over the past few years, I think we can all agree, or most people can agree, that it's gone kind of downhill since Black Ops 3 around 2015, 2016. The past few games haven't been as good as you'd probably expect, which includes, I think, Black Ops 4, Cold War to a certain extent, Vanguard, and Modern Warfare 3. Even though it's popular and decent, it's still a long way off an amazing COD Zombies game. Like I said, that's just my opinion. So what I thought I'd do, since there are loads of reasons to be optimistic about this year's Call of Duty Zombies, from everything that we know about it, including it having a 4-year development time, which is the longest any Call of Duty has ever gotten. The normal amount of time developers get to develop Call of Duty is 3 years. It has been shorter than that, 2 years, 1.5. So for that reason, I'm really excited to see what Treyarch can cook up in 4 years. If we've seen them create games like Black Ops 3 Zombies in just 3 years, Cold War in 2, Modern Warfare 3 Zombies in 16 months, imagine what Treyarch can do for this mode within 4 years. So if you haven't, let's say, been happy with zombies recently, well, there are plenty of reasons to look forward to this year's. And I want to give my opinions, my ideas on what I want to see in it, and kind of speak to Treyarch, even though no developer will probably watch this video. Not that it will matter because it's well into development. Most of the stuff that I want to see in it by this point will either be implemented into the game or it won't, considering there's only about 10 months left of its development until it releases in about October, November of this year. But let me just get into it anyway. So the first thing I want to see is more than one map on day 1. Now, this, from the leaks, we've already been told is going to be happening. Apparently, there are going to be 2 zombies maps on day 1. One that takes place on an island and one in a city. This, I'm totally fine with it. If we look at any of the other good COD Zombies, they usually include at least 2 maps on day 1. Black Ops 3 had the Giant and Shadows of Evil. BO2 had Transit and Nuketown. BO1 had Keenan and 5. Black Ops 4 Zombies actually had 4 maps on day 1, which I wouldn't be against. I want at least 2, but 3 would be great, even 4. But I think 2 is more than enough if you put enough content into them. If you've got 4 maps compared to 2, there's probably going to be less content in each map. So I think I'd actually rather have 2 really great ones. But either way, I wouldn't complain. We need at least 2 on day 1. And the reason for that, as we've seen so many times over the years, is it gives people a choice. If you don't like one of the maps, then you're more than likely to like the other at least. For example, in Black Ops 1, a lot of people loved Kino and didn't like 5. Imagine if we never got Kino on Black Ops 1 and we're just given 5. The reception of Black Ops 1 Zombies in 2010 would have been totally different. Imagine if in Black Ops 2 we only got Transit and never got Nuketown. I mean, you can argue which is the better map, but at least you had a choice. If you didn't feel like playing Transit, you could go to Nuketown. It was a bonus map, but it didn't cost much to buy. On BO3, you had Shadows of Evil and the Giant. A lot of people hated Shadows on day 1. They grew to love it later on, but because you had the Giant to play at the same time, it did mean you could play that until you got used to the new features that were included in Shadows of Evil, or until DLC 1 release. So it's really important to get at least 2 Zombies maps from the beginning, which it looks like we will be, so that should be totally fine. And I should also clarify what I mean by that is 2 round-based Zombies maps. Round-based has to and will return this year. We haven't really seen round-based zombies for a couple of games now. It is the standard, but it isn't in Modern Warfare 3. We didn't get it at the start of Vanguard, and by the time it came out in that game, it was already long gone. We had round-based maps in Cold War, but they kind of lacked, because at the same time, Treyarch gave us Outbreak, which meant us receiving at least 1 less round-based zombies map than what we usually would get. So the return of round-based zombies is vital, but at the same time, we have seen modes like Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, I would say, revitalize the community, bring in a whole new bunch of players, and it's very popular. I like it. I don't prefer it to round-based, but because we had round-based and Outbreak in Cold War Zombies, which worked for the most part, as I just mentioned, in the end, Outbreak did kind of take away from round-based because we had 1 less map. But if Treyarch could implement those 2 game modes at the same time without them taking away from one another, so we receive the normal amount of round-based maps we'd usually get, and alongside it, we have the Outbreak game mode as well, / this open world zombies that we have in Modern Warfare 3. To be honest, I'd much prefer this Modern Warfare 3 style than what we got in Cold War Outbreak, because they're quite similar. That's where the comparison comes from between the two modes, but I think Modern Warfare 3 Zombies is a lot better than Outbreak. It's a lot more entertaining, and I also think it's very likely it will return this year. It's been extremely popular. It's actually very easy for them to do compared to round-based Zombies maps. Since Warzone's going to be returning, all they've got to do is convert the Warzone map to Zombies. They don't have to change much, and a lot of the game modes they can just replicate from Modern Warfare 3. So right now, especially with the 4-year development time, that's a lot of time for them to do this. I can't see any reason why we won't have round-based and the Modern Warfare 3 zombie style at the same time. I'm 99% sure we're going to be getting that. They might label it as Outbreak 2.0, but I'm 100% fine with it as long as round-based is the main part of it. For me, that's going to be the main focal point of this year's Zombies, because at the end of the day, that is one of the reasons why Zombies has died down over the past few years, because of the lack of round-based Zombies content, and them moving away from that. So they have to return to it, it has to be the main focus, and Outbreak also has to return because it has its own fan base, but it can't take away from the round-based content. And they've also added on here, even though I think it's a little bit of wishful thinking, but at some point in the future, I'd also love a Zombies campaign. We did see that in Black Ops 3. Yes, it was terrible. It was just a normal campaign with zombies instead of AI soldiers. Pretty much the exact same linear story, some minor changes. I'd love a fully fledged Zombies campaign. I don't think it's going to happen, but imagine that, a Call of Duty where we had round-based, Outbreak, and a Zombies campaign as well. And whilst I'm still on the topic of maps, one thing I think a lot of people can agree on is one thing that's been lacking compared to those original days is the lack of originality. And what I mean by that is if you look at our recent Zombies maps, the Modern Warfare 3 Zombies map is the Warzone map. It's not original, it's a multiplayer map. In Vanguard, all of the maps besides from Shino Numa were multiplayer maps or campaign missions. In Cold War Zombies, most of the maps, besides from D Machine, which was original, and part of the area in Firebase C, but a lot of the maps in Cold War were multiplayer or campaign missions, not originally made for zombies from the ground up, compared to some of the greatest maps we've ever had in BO3, BO2, we look at Darius and Draka, which is completely original to zombies, built up from the ground. We look at Shadows of Evil, which is completely original. Mob of the Dead was built for zombies and then turned into a multiplayer map. I'm thinking of some of the best zombies maps we've ever had. Origins, original to zombies. One thing we've been lacking is maps that are created just for zombies. Lately, Treyarch, and because of time restraints, this isn't completely their fault, but they've been taking parts of multiplayer maps and campaign missions and then reusing them for zombies maps instead of creating a map from the ground up designed for zombies. And when you do that, it takes so much away, such as atmosphere. You look at the feeling in some of our older zombies maps and then compare that to our newer ones. You just can't get that special zombies feeling when you're taking MP maps and campaign missions. It means your zombies maps are going to be having MP designs, which is totally unnecessary in zombies because, well, we're not going up against other players, you're coming up against AI. What we're more after here is character, atmosphere, whereas in the campaign and MP, you're after something totally different. Over the past few years, I've just missed that feeling in zombies of going into a map, looking at my surroundings and saying, wow, this looks amazing, or, ooh, I'm terrified. This looks awesome. I can't remember the last time I went into a zombies map and said that to myself. I did quite like D Machine on Cold War though, and coincidentally, that was an original map compared to the rest. Overall, I just want to see less campaign and multiplayer features in zombies, whether that means maps, and that also applies to the story, characters. In Cold War, they started to introduce a lot of campaign characters into our zombie story, which is fine. I do like Weaver, I have no problem with him, but at a certain point when you're linking multiplayer and campaign into zombies then starts to lose a little bit of its uniqueness and becomes more of an expansion of multiplayer. So I'd love to see them stop linking the two together and reusing as many assets and come up with more unique stuff just for this mode. You could argue the biggest out of the bunch, especially for a storyline person, is set casts. We 100% need a set crew back in zombies. None of this operator crap, they need to go. I know Treyarch have tried recently to give us set characters, but ones that aren't playable, that we can just hear talking to us as we play the game with our operators, but it's not the same. We have to have a set cast of characters again, just like Primus, Ultimus, Victus, any of these celebrity cast of characters. There are so many reasons why it's necessary. One, entertainment. The operators are dead, they're boring, they're lifeless. You compare them to any single character, even the most boring ones, but our best ones, Richtoff and Takio, Nikolai and Dempsey, you want to play as them, whereas you don't care about playing as operators, what they say. A set cast of characters also allows you to tell the storyline through them instead of relying on radios as much or cutscenes, which has taken away from the story over recent years, having to rely more on just boring audio reels, whereas normally playable characters might be able to tell you some of that stuff. That's just not possible with operators. You also can't get emotionally attached to operators because everyone can play as a different person. There's no linear story to follow with them, so whether they die or live, the actions they make in a map has no real consequence, it has no meaning. You don't care. There are loads of reasons why a set cast of characters is important. Imagine playing a campaign game where you just played as a purchasable operator. A campaign relies on the protagonist. If the character you're playing as is boring, terrible, then that could make or break how good the game is. Imagine playing, I don't know, Black Ops 1 Zombies with any other characters that aren't Optimus. The point is, it's so important to play as not only a set cast, but also a good set of characters as well. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit less hopeful of this one because operators bring in a lot of money for Activision, so to then tell Treyarch to implement a set cast instead of operators will mean less people will buy operators because, well, that's one of the reasons why people buy them, to play as them in Zombies. If that option gets taken away and you're forced to play as a set cast of characters, that's a lot of revenue lost. A couple of quick things. Perks, maybe it's just me that feels like this, but ever since, I don't even know, I want to say Black Ops 3, it felt like we stopped getting new perks in Zombies every map or every other map, and we only got like one new perk a game. Maybe I'm delusional, we have had some really bad perk systems over the years in Vanguard and Black Ops 4, but we need to start getting some new perks in Zombies again, more frequently anyway. Talking in that, which perk system do I want to see in Zombies, because we've had so many? Cold Wars. I think Cold War Zombies had the perfect balance here because they had the original perks, very similar designs, they were a little bit more steampunk to fit the vibe, but they worked the same way, but the difference was they could be upgraded, which gave you more of an incentive to play Zombies. I don't think it's necessary, the old perk system from BO1, 2, 3 could just return, that worked fine as well, but ideally, I'd love to see the ability of them being upgraded return from Cold War. Scrap what you did in Vanguard, scrap what you did in Black Ops 4, and do that. Also, and this has been a recent complaint in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies as well, I want to feel OP again. For some reason, Treyarch like to treat Zombies as a multiplayer game where you're coming up against other characters and you being OP means there's not a level playing field, but that's like nerfing the campaign. Why does it matter if you're OP against AI? Yes, I can understand from an XP point of view, perhaps they don't want you to get a load of XP from Zombies compared to multiplayer, but I want to feel OP when I'm playing Zombies. I'd much rather feel overpowered than underpowered. Underpowered leads to it feeling boring, overpowered leads to it maybe feeling too easy sometimes, but more than that, it's just a lot more fun. So I'd politely ask, please stop nerfing Zombies. Sometimes it's necessary, but most of the time, it's not. Just give me an OP weapon, let me use it, don't patch it. I was also going to say we need to have intro and outro cutscenes return for every map, but that's kind of been happening recently anyway. In Modern Warfare 3 we have the intro, even though it's one map, and we have 4 different ending cutscenes by this point. But if we look before that, Vanguard, definitely a lack of cutscenes. Cold War, there were outro cutscenes, but some of the maps lacked intro cutscenes. Because we have no set casts at the moment, it's important that we get as many cutscenes as we can to tell the storyline. So just like in BO3 or BO4, we need to be getting intro and outro cutscenes, and good ones as well, not crappy ones that tell us nothing, informative ones, and ones that look good, not the comic styles that we saw in BO4, that not only tell us the storyline, but they just look cool as well. Everybody likes a good bit of CGI. This one's just my little personal thing, but I'd love to see a bit more of the Dark Ether being brought back to Zombies. So at the end of Black Ops 4, when everything got sucked into the Dark Ether, we know things slowly started to spew out in Cold War, and now in Modern Warfare 3, some things started to escape. Well, perhaps just a few more things that entered the Dark Ether in BO4 could return as well. I'm not saying the Primus or Ultimus characters, they're dead, they're gone, but you know, little hints of their existence or Victor's existence. I would just love to see a tiny bit more of that old story from World at War to BO4 make an appearance in the current zombie story. Yes, it's cut off and they've kind of given us a new one, even though a lot still exists, Samantha and Eddie being the main ones, but it is still possible and they could make it make sense story-wise. So that one's just for me, it's not really important. As a story person, I'd love that though. The final 3 things. 1, I want that cartoonish feeling back in Treyarch games. I don't think this is going to happen because now they're working off the IW engine, which means every Call of Duty game from this point on is going to feel more or less like a Modern Warfare game, or like it's in that universe. If you think of the older days, we always used to say that Treyarch's games were more cartoony and Infinity Wards were more realistic. That's what I loved about Treyarch games, you could tell they were different, they felt different. That's been lost now because of the engine change, and I don't think that's going to come back. But if there was ever a chance, chance, you know? Can that feeling of us playing a Treyarch game return? I doubt it, but I do miss the days where each developer's COD felt unique to them. Now they feel a lot more similar to one another, and that cartoonish feeling fits zombies more as well. And the final one, which leaks have suggested, we should be getting in Gulf War 2 years of content. Just how in Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 is technically Modern Warfare 2 2.0 or 2.5. It was supposed to be a DLC and expansion. It's basically 2 years of the Modern Warfare universe. Apparently, we are going to be getting 2 years of Treyarch. So we have a Treyarch game this year, and next year we have another game which is going to be Sledgehammer's, but it will still be the Treyarch universe. So kind of Black Ops Gulf War 2.0 or 2.5, which could also mean 2 years of zombies. We won't get into that because it's a long way to go, but the idea of that makes me excited. So there we go. I think with all of that, we could have a really great game on our hands this year. It depends how much of this Treyarch do. Maybe some of you guys don't agree with some of this stuff and have different opinions. Let me know in the comment section below. But there we go. Thank you all for watching the video today. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.